Hi, we have been studying dynamic vision, in which we have been concerned with detecting some motion in a sequence of frames or a sequence of images that usually come from a video. And we have discussed some techniques to try to identify if there was some type of motion when we compare those images. You have done some experiments in your last homework assignment. Now in this class we will present another idea that we can use to compare images that we can borrow from statistics. So those of you that do probability and statistics maybe remember that there was a topic about hypothesis, and then in that topic you were you prepare two hypotheses, the one that we call the H sub 0 and the 1, which is the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, and we get some type of evidence to support either one of the hypotheses, or that was one of the topics that was discussed. So in this case we will use what we're going to call the likelihood ratio test. That is a ratio, that means it's something like here a division between these two probabilities, and in this case we're talking about the probabilities, densities, and the hypothesis. So here we talk about considering that there are regions, or we can say there are two images that we want to compare, and in this case this is the probability that the distribution of the, let's say, the gray values or the intensity values of one of the images given the hypothesis 1 is true, or the distribution of the gray values given that the hypothesis null is true. So this terminology, for those of you that haven't taken probability and statistics, means the conditional probability. So given in this case the G's are the distributions, the gray values from the images. So in the definition of H0 and H1, and I think we discussed that in other lectures, we say something about the likelihood ratio. So we talk about some of the regions, and then we say, well, let's say that there is basically no change between the two images. So in that case we say that they have the same type of Gaussian distribution, of normal distribution, and then the parameters. For those of you that maybe took the class know that this is a mu and a sigma, is the standard deviation and the mean of the distribution, so that means it's the same. The other is that there are two different type of regions, or two type of image that comes from different distributions. So then we're talking about that either it's the same distribution or they have two different types of distributions. And you also may recall that this is the formula that you use for the normal distribution, and in this case we're talking about gray levels, and then the probability of a given gray level in one of the regions of the images is given by this formula, in which again this is pi, this is sigma, the standard deviation, and the mean of the distribution. Okay, so again we're using this from statistics, and the idea is that we get into these ratios, something that maybe looks like we're doing the probability of one of the hypotheses given the other hypothesis, then we get some type of number. This is similar to what we were doing in the DPs, in the difference that we were using before between the images, that says, okay, we either say yes or no if this is greater than that given threshold, and then maybe we can use that as one of the numbers. Again, this is what we have for the formula, and then how do we do the mean? Well, doing the average, mean is supposed to be from the population, but we will estimating from the sample that we have from the region or from the image by just getting the average of the intensity values on that image. That means we add all the values and divide it by the total number of pixels, and that and this will be the formula for the standard deviation. This is how we will do in the estimation. So we subtract each intensity value from the mean, then we square those, and then we do the summation, and then we divide it by n. So again, these formulas are basically the same formulas that you were using in probability and statistics in the course that they were talking about the normal distribution, the hypothesis. So it's adapting information from there. Now, something else that may be useful to review from that course is that you also have a topic about conditional probability, and then the Bayes theorem, and this is just the idea of the formula. So like, for example, if they were independent, the probability of A given B is basically the probability of A, because B is not affecting. And in the case of independent events, the probability of A and B, this is the probability of A times the probability of B. So this is something that maybe you just want to remember. Then the probability of A given B, if we expand the formulas, will be equal in this case to this type of probability. So the probability of happening A, B, and C when these are independent is just basically the multiplication of the probabilities. And again, this is you go a little more in detail in that class, but I mean, it's just in case that you don't remember, is the notation. Now, why is that we're discussing this? Is just to understand the formula. You see there are a lot of formulas that sometimes we're using in computer vision, and let's go into let's see if we can understand this. So these are the probability, we got these intensity values given that they are in the same that they come from the same distribution. This is the null hypothesis. So look, that we're talking about two regions, and each of the regions is of size m. One is size m1 and the other is size m2. So in this case, we getting into all values that are there, and then we say, well, it can be from 1 up to m plus 2, which is all the intensity values that are listed in the two images or the two regions combined. And if we see that these are independent, I mean the probability of each one of these happening is independent from the other, is going to be a multiplication that looks like this, and this is what this pi symbol means, that this is the same as multiplying each one of those, which is the GI. So here we're just changing the index h up to m1 plus m2. So this and this will be equivalent, and then in which expanding this means this multiplication. The explanation of this, it says, remember this formula. Okay, then this is the same as, since this comes from a normal distribution, then we can, each one of these probability can be substituted by this formula, in which we're just changing the I, and the I goes from 1 to m1 plus m2, and then if we just expand, and then here just a review about exponents in case that you don't remember what is going on over here. So here is, if we expand this is what we have, and then here these three dots means this is the first two elements and so on up to the very last element. And then we see that there is something that we can simplify, and then this can be simplified into this expression, right? Now this can even be further simplified, because we're talking about the sigma sub 0, and the sigma sub 0 will be this, if we use that in the formula, and then we simplify. So now if we substitute this over here, then we simplify with the substitution, we should get something like this. Now remember that the ratio that we're looking is the division of see if I still have these probabilities, right? So we just got this one of them, so let's get the other one. So in this one we say that they come from the same and distribution, so we are combining the two regions into one. So here in the H1 it says no, they're coming from two different regions. So here we separated the two regions in the probabilities. Okay, so the other part of the formula, in which here we separated region 1 and region 2 that are being separated, then we do the same expansion. That means, okay, this is what we have, and now this will be the way that we will simplify. So this is very similar to the other one, and then finally we obtain this. So in these two rectangles I have the simplification of those two probabilities, and then we will now divide them, and then when we divide them and simplify, we get something that looks like this. So this is a possible interpretation of likelihood ratio. So now maybe outputs that they have that inverse or the reciprocal of this, and the meaning basically would be the same. I mean, on the ratio. I mean, if it is. I mean, this can say they are equal or they are different, and then we will just have to give an interpretation of the number that we get there. So just to have an idea, once we have the simplified formula, what we're doing. So you see, we basically computing now 3 standard deviations. So the standard deviation of combining all regions, or the standard deviation of each one of the images. So if we do, for example, the standard deviation for sub-zero, this will mean that in this example that I had these two images, and then I combine these 9 numbers and these 9 numbers into 18 numbers. So I get the mean of those 18 numbers and then the standard deviation of those numbers, and that will be my standard deviation for that will be the one that I call the sub-zero. When I'm doing the standard deviation of 1, that means I will compute for only these numbers, and I'm going to label that my standard deviation 1, and for this it will be my standard deviation number 2. So that's how I combine, that's how I get these 3 numbers, and M1 and M2 is the size of each of the regions, which in this example, my region 1 is 9, so it's 9 values, and my region 2 is the same, it's 9. I'm comparing this image with this image, which are the same size. So what I will have in my ratio is something like this. Once I compute the sigmas, the sigma to the power of 18, sigma to the power of 9, sigma to the power of 9, and this is a sample computation of the mu and the sigma 1 using the values that are there. Now I didn't finish computing this, but again, I mean, the same way you can compute the sigma sub-zero and the sigma 2, and then we can get actually the value for